I'm in that time of hell. What the fuck you think I feel when I said you're under the nail? In that time of hell. What do you think it feel when I hit 100 mil? All right, you see me? All right, let's do it. I need to slow that down. All right. Okay. In that time of hell, what you think it feel? How you think I feel once I hit 100 mil? I'm in that time of hell. That's ladies and gentlemen, he, she's, theys and the gays, and everybody who's got a heart, a mind, and a soul, and a body, of course, to receive these videos. I want to just thank you for joining us again for another episode in the dungeon. A little off schedule, a little earlier than usual. I know I like to drop a video and then hop out of here for 2 weeks and act like I don't exist, but consistency is what we're going for, 2025. And my birthday is coming up, so consistency is definitely something that I want to make sure we're setting the precedent for not just the big 24, but for the rest of the years that we have to come. I don't know if I've ever discussed my birthday or my age on this platform, so I apologize for coming to you guys with that so late, but June 5th, save the date. We'll have a little celebration on here. Maybe I'll do a live stream or something, and we can just get wild. So that'll be fun. But thank you guys for being here. You know, it's always something that I appreciate dearly, that I'm not just making these videos into the void anymore, but there are real human beings who are receiving this. And if you're watching with like your pet, your dog, your cat, your snake, hopefully they're able to receive these messages too and get a little bit of this humanity that we're sharing with each other. Now, enough of me doing all this talking, and I want to give you guys a little screenshot of the board if you want to check it out a little bit. For those of you who don't know yet, this is the little intro we're getting into, and then this right here is going to be today's episode. If you're here from TikTok, you're definitely going to know that I hate that dude Mark Zuckerberg. And this is just a small aspect of not only why I don't like him as a human being, but how I believe he plays a part into the greater machine of big tech leveraging the destruction of America, what is happening right now, for the sake of using this country as a money pit and then also a military protectant for them to invest in their side projects that are probably going to fail. But if they fail, they can just blame shift to the American taxpayer. And if they don't fail, then they can enslave us to fulfill the projects to exact or to completion, forgive me. And personally, as somebody who doesn't agree with either of those options, I don't even think I consented to giving Zuckerberg anything other than the personal information that I already barely wanted to give him for my Instagram and my Facebook account. Now he's creating technologies that have sensors right next to my eye to track everywhere my eye goes, to make sure that he can place an ad perfectly in every place that my eye is not actively thinking about buying somebody's product. Or maybe he can use that to train his users and train his, I don't even want to call them users, AI agents and robots to understand me and human behavior at such a level to where he can always have the upper hand. Mind you, this is somebody who was a basement dweller his whole entire years growing up. 4 sisters, and then out of nowhere, he jumps on the Joe Rogan podcast and goes, I like guns and beers and sex. I like guns and beers and sex. Please accept me, red pillars. Allegedly, because I don't want to get arrested, and that dude has way too many billions for me to even want to be in any type of legal dispute with him. Zuck's a lizard, bro. And that's all you got to hear. If you don't take anything from the rest of what I'm about to describe here, Mark Zuckerberg is a lizard and he does not care about you. I can make a whole hour-long video just cutting clips of him lying to users' parents that are since deceased because of interactions or engagements they had on his platforms. And I'm not saying that as a CEO myself, I understand that you can't take full responsibility for everything that happens in the platforms that you create. But for somebody who's taking none at all and who has been fortunate enough to skate by for reasons which we'll probably end up discussing in this video, I would like to see some kind of accountability for somebody like that. I would like to see that there is some kind of justice that somebody like that, who's actually sending our country into an absolute tailspin, can face some kind of consequences, just so we can believe in whatever the fuck you're trying to sell us, that is this American dream, which again, I don't believe in either. Okay, we'll save more of the Zuckerberg talk for this episode, because, but it's what we'll really be diving into is what I can understand, or what I can see of this tech cult that's really started in Silicon Valley and is attempting to take over America, and with America, the rest of the world. Of course, I don't think it's going to happen. It's one of those, forgive me for saying this, it's one of those Hitler ambitious philosophies or ideologies that's like, I can take this bastard philosophy of white supremacy and I can turn that onto an entire world. But the flaw in my philosophy isn't specifically in my desire to be superior or to dominate over other people. It's in my ignorance to realizing the whole entire reason why we had to make this philosophy and this religion and all the subsequent systems of oppression to support it are because it is in the innermost parts of that white supremacist psychosis are the feelings of inadequacy, feelings of fear, insecurity, deep existential rejection. The feeling of not belonging on a planet full of people that don't look like you, don't live like you, don't eat like you, don't behave like you, don't shift responsibility of their actions to other impossible, like irrelevant beings. But in a world where you don't take accountability for the actions that you have done that have actually consequenced other people, and you're always able to throw that to somebody else, the devil, this, that, you, this, then you refuse to make that, over a couple of generations, you refuse to make that connection to say that, oh, we were using this psychosis to protect us from the truth that we actually need all of these people that we are dehumanizing and we are conquering. And we need them more than they need us. And the second they find a way to sustain themselves outside of the lies that we've sold them about their existence and their salvation, our existence is going to come to a very, very abrupt end. And that's why it's, again, like we'll have this conversation more times than just here, but it's hilarious to think that white supremacy cannot exist on its own. That is the final piece that would make you superior. The ability to exist on a land that is foreign to you completely on your own. But anywhere you go, it is parasiting off of the home culture, parasiting off of the host body, stealing from, exploiting what has already been created and cultivated and made and brought value to. Stealing that from the self, draining it, stripping it of every nutrient, and then throwing it away because it's valueless. But it's only been valueless after you touched it, after you engaged with it, after you corrupted it. So does that have anything to say with these savages that you've been stealing from and exploiting? Or does that have more to say with you? And every time you see something beautiful and touch it, it dies. Just like every time you rip a rose out of the ground, it dies inevitably. So, it's all perspectives at the end of the day. I understand I'm probably speaking to, not even just a void, I'm probably speaking to a brick wall at this point when I'm having those types of conversations, because it's just too many people's entire belief systems have been built off protecting themselves from recognizing that truth. Because all of their merit, all of their credibility, all of their success, all of their achievements are on the other side of not addressing the severely disadvantageous world that exists for the marginalized people that have to be exploited to create that false reality. And I hope the more that we have these conversations, it allows, especially the white people in my community, to see, who are you in your humanity? Who are you beyond your ability to gain this sense of acceptance or this sense of superiority by needing to dehumanize another? And hopefully with the men in my community as well, that can allow us to extend that conversation into, where is our masculinity, and where does that come from outside of needing to dehumanize not just women, but everybody who isn't a man, and even doing the same to sabotage other men for the sake of feeling masculine or feeling grand within ourselves? Who are we apart from that? And how much more difficult, now in an existential sense, how much more difficult is it for somebody to manipulate us and to sell us lies, whether it's red pill lies or it's just organic patriarchy? How much more difficult is it for them to prey on our insecurities and our ignorance when we have decided that our gifts, our power, our strength comes from a place that these people can't give to us and these people can't take from us either, but from a place that we got to because we decided to take that time to meditate, to go into that solitude, to face our demons. And in that, facing ourselves, facing our truth, we were able to create that connection with ourselves, create the passion, create the inspiration, create from within. So anytime we feel lost, we feel disconnected, it's not going further out into the world, further away from ourselves to find the connection. It's taking the time to go deeper within ourselves, to take more space and more time to allow ourselves to birth out what we're looking for. How much more difficult is it to control somebody like that who isn't dependent on these systems, whether it's patriarchy, whether it's capitalism? They're only dependent on their ability to be self-sufficient and to find other people that would also like to humble themselves in creating communities and environments of self-sufficiency or of collective contribution. That's all I'm saying at the end of the day. Lots of conversations I'm trying to get into. And I maybe I should have made that the weekly rundown, but no, we got a lot. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. It's scary, of course, but this is the good stuff. So we'll save the rest of that existential stuff for there. But right now is a good time to get into our weekly rundown. But before we get into that, let's get into something real quick. Okay, I definitely hate to inform you that Cosmic Nomad's site is still not open. It probably still is not open by the time that this video is up. But because I know you guys are very patient, you guys are very respectful for drop dates and releases and all that, I do want to let you know that literally just stay in tune with these videos. Within the next 2 weeks, I'll have another video saying, site's open, go check out some stuff. And I'll be screaming all over my Instagram and whatnot. That freaking cesspool dead place that is Instagram. And then you guys can go catch some clothes from there. If you aren't feeling those because you're not somebody who likes wearing clothes, I don't blame you. Check out our Patreon, and there's a little more exclusive stuff over there if you want to just contribute or if you like to get a little further access into my brain. Because I haven't started selling an account where you can get access into my pants. But I think that's illegal, so we won't have to do that, hopefully. Other than that, because I'm tired of wasting your time, let's get back into this. Man, how the fuck you feel? How the fuck you feel just to hit 100 mil? I used to wear that Walmart, now I'm rocking Tommy Hill. How the fuck you feel? That's gonna be a song at some point. It keeps on going in my head, and I'm gonna write it down. Or if somebody wants to help me write that song, tap in with me. Oh, weekly rundown. Let's go ahead and get into that. So, and some of these things are, because I do a lot of research, a lot of studying. So some things I see on the news, some things I'm seeing on TikTok, some things I'm not seeing in a book. The books that I read are like way too old to carry any information that is strictly relevant to current events, unless it's like some forecasting prophecy. So if there's anything cool I get from a book, I'll definitely share it with you guys. For right now, it's more so things that are immediate. So thank TikTok for a handful of these. One thing I'm starting to see a lot of on the internet, and this is everywhere, is people are using ChatGPT to like cheat. And I remember, mind you, my days in the school system a couple of years ago, I was using that thing called Chegg. That was futuristic. First it was Quizlet, and then it was Chegg. And of course, in no time at all, I realized that I was never somebody who was going to be good at school because I liked academia or education in the traditional sense. But I just liked figuring out ways to beat the system. And then if I couldn't sell that system and make some kind of profit off of it, I just liked giving myself an opportunity to just know I was ahead of the game. My intelligence was being determined by, can I get away with this? And it worked for a lot of time until I realized that all of that training that you do in traditional education is to prepare you for the traditional employment workforce. And there's, especially if you're like a public school kid, there's really no point, no point, but there's no raising you into becoming an entrepreneur, into a non-traditional life path person. And I had to get like kicked on my ass to really figure out what that path and lifestyle looked like for me. And I'm hoping that through these conversations that we have, you don't have to go through like the ridiculous, confusing, almost like spinning in a laundry bin nature of the creative path in a capitalist system. And we can help create better environments and better circumstances for each other. But what I'm trying to say with this is I already had conversations about how I believe that ChatGPT and artificial intelligence is just the ultimate form of convenience under capitalism. And that's why it has such a crazy potential to create such immense, immediate change. Because not only does it replace people's like actual human skilled labor jobs, as in like what you have to do 40 hours a week. Like, of course, it could have been done by a robot years ago. But like right now, it's just the amount of reasons to even employ you as a human being are just quickly decreasing, quickly decreasing. And AI takes that stack of reasons why you should still be employed and just shrinks it down into one paper. And most people don't have that one paper that would keep them employed. Figuratively is what I'm saying. This is why you show up to public libraries and whatnot. This one that I'm around, I'm not going to say it, of course. I don't want you guys stalking me. But this library that I be at, they be having a lot of free stuff. So I think it's actually super huge if you show up to these local events before the government starts taking funding away for public libraries and stuff that actually matters. But what I'm trying to say, I know we kind of went everywhere with the AI conversation and speaking about school and the changes that are going to come with that. But personally, what I believe is that the only reason why there hasn't been a harder push against artificial intelligence in traditional education, other than the fact that the Department of Education has been destroyed and there's absolutely no incentive or no reason to kind of like educate American students, is because this is like, I'm not sure another way to say this. I don't know any way to tell you guys this or like an analogy to give. So I think I'm just going to have to tell you guys straight up. So it's basically a toy. It's a tool that's wrapped up in this design that looks like a toy if you're an idiot. All right? And like, again, I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying that if you're a smart person, you're going to look at this device, like a phone, say you. If you're a smart person, you look at a phone as a tool to optimize the life that you're already living. You're not using it to distract you from how overwhelming your life is. You're using it to centralize my phone calls, my emails, so I can do that on the run. You're using that to text people when you need to, so you don't have to send letters. You're using that to, hey, let me FaceTime real quick. Hey, let me write my notes down in here so I don't have to pull out a whole notebook and a notepad. Hey, I got a budget in here. Let me make sure I track my budgeting. Oh, I can put my bank on here. I can put my this on here, my social media, my photos, So for people who had so much going on, when a technology, convenience technology is sold to the masses, it makes their life easier and more efficient so those people who already do a lot can do more, or they can leverage the more that they already do. For the rest of us who already don't know how to handle our circumstances before a convenience tool gets into our reality, we use the convenience tool to further separate us from the responsibility we need to take in our reality. The reason why this isn't just another smartphone and it isn't just another, well, just get those kids' hands off the phone, get their eyes off the phone, they're staring at the screen all day. In our current age, you have the fortune of being able to scroll on TikTok in your free time, watch movies on Netflix in your free time, scroll on Instagram in your free time. You are now competing for the ability to feed yourself with the technology. We've gone from a world where technology has been used to convenience so many people's lives, and now so many people's lives have been so convenienced by the technology that we've been building up to this point, that now this next phase of technology is either ultimate convenience, meaning you are going to give up the overwhelm that is taking full responsibility for your life for whatever convenient reality, probably the metaverse, you will be given along with this new era of tool, or you can use that tool to absolutely transform the life that you're living, your legacy, your destiny, your reality, and your circumstances. But the problem is so much stuff, especially when times like this happen in society, the powers that be make sure that so much is going on in everybody's head and so little is going on in people's hearts that we are distracted either by the overwhelm and the confusion, so we don't know how to use these tools, or we are afraid of these tools so much that we don't use them properly. So we can't see the infinite potential, positive potential, that can come on the other side of using them. We're so desperate and so crazed that we use them so quickly, we end up destroying our lives and the lives of the people around us with them. Now, how does this all tie back into the conversation that I'm having? Again, I'm not saying this to be mean, but smart people are going to use AI and they're going to see it and realize this is a tool like no other. And this is an opportunity. The next 5 to 7 years are an opportunity like no other. I need to find a way to put myself above this tool to find out how I can create some kind of credibility or value in my humanity that exists independent of this technology. Because at the end of the day, you're either going to be using this technology to fully distract yourself from the real world and what is going to happen in it, or you're going to use it to help create the reality that you want by literally ripping a hole into existence and making that happen. And the reason why I use that specific ripping a hole into existence, like almost like tearing a wormhole in time, is because the capability of technology as we've been progressing in human history has been exponential every time. But the exponential nature of going from our traditional social networks, from like mobile apps to AI, it's literally here to here. One of these exponential rise, ridiculous. And this is me just thinking about the potential that it has based on the current use cases, not just making up stories anymore. We are here now. And a lot of people are coping with it by acting like this is just another version of the internet, like there will be life for people who don't properly get integrated into the universe, or into the internet, forgive me, there won't. The reason, and now we're going to wrap this all back around into the point that I'm trying to get to. If you are one of these people, which most Americans are, and this is why they're destroying the Department of Education, these billionaires that have taken over our country effectively, when they're having their conversations with their other rich little goonies, they're laughing at how stupid American people are. They're sitting here and saying, why would the country with the most the wealthiest military on planet Earth, why would they let some foreigners with a lot of money buy their presidency and destroy their government? At one of the most pivotal times in human history to do anything. Multi-trillion-dollar wealth transfer is happening over the next 25 years. Multi-trillion-dollar wealth transfer is happening over the next 25 years. Multi-trillion-dollar wealth transfer. And we are in the era, we are actively in the era of crypto and artificial intelligence and shifting the world into digital currency. Why would we destroy the Department of Education at one of the most pivotal technological eras in human history? If you don't catch on properly to the AI trend, boom or bust, there's only two sides of humanity to be on. Those who have and those who don't. This is the type of, this is even the reason why I even discuss so much about it. We're not just moving into rich, poor, middle class, kind of working up the ladder. It is have and have not. And the reason why, and again, I keep on saying the reason why, but it's like, you already know what I'm talking about. If you're using ChatGPT to do your homework, like your 7th grade homework, your 10th grade homework, your 12th grade reading assignment, if you're using it to write an essay in public school, dog, where are you going to work at? I'm telling you right now, and I think a lot of people are afraid to admit this and even say this because kids don't listen at all, but high school is going to be the easiest time of your pre-adult life. Or I guess it's probably the hardest time of your pre-adult life. If you include that little bit of high school into any bit of socialization for the real world, it's like 2%. So if you need to crutch on ultimate convenience for high school, I'm not saying that you don't need help. But if you're crutching on this type of technology for high school, the real world's going to be so damn scary. You're going to get into the metaverse and never leave. So I'm asking people, I'm not saying to be afraid, but I'm asking people, who are you independent of this amazing technology? Mind you, you can't figure that out by just abandoning it. You have to learn it. You have to work with it and understand, hey, I have to really, really, really respect the value and the intelligence of this thing, even if it is a fuck up a lot of the time. I have to respect this because this little ChatGPT doesn't need healthcare. It doesn't go on strikes when I'm not paying it properly. It's not asking for vacations. It's not complaining about me to the press and starting movements doing that. You starting to see that? That's why I believe that with the destruction of the Department of Education and absolutely no, like basically the Doge and the wealthy cutting or breaking the ladder that would have allowed the poors to work their way up in some kind of way to reaching not only the upper echelon of society, but being able to build laterally to their own people in that type of, that level of society. What you're doing is using ChatGPT to help you cheat on your test, but all you're doing is training it, doing work for free, because you're plugging in all the questions, all the whatnot into it, which these companies would probably have to pay people to do. But now you're doing it for free. So you're escalating the training of these models with your work that you should be doing, just so now the amount of time it takes to train these models and replace you is only going to happen infinitely faster. And then where are you going to be working if you don't even like to do regular human shit? Oh, you're going to be responsible for, you won't even own it. That's the craziest part. You're going to show up into a data center the new digital minds, and you're going to make sure that you're keeping those 5, 10, 20 robots fully functioning. And then once you click off your 12 or your 15-hour shift, then you can go sleep on in your bedroom in your company town, if they aren't forcing you to go back home and to try to create another child for the system. So it's like, hey, as I said in the beginning of this part, I am somebody who used ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, I'm somebody who used Chegg. I'm somebody who used to cheat like nobody's business in class because it was just meaningless. Not necessarily what we're being taught, but the busy work was purely meaningless, and I was not going to waste my time doing that shit. But I realized no matter how much you hate school and traditional education, you still have to become somebody. And it takes investment, it takes consistency, it takes effort, it takes failure and trying and actually wanting to explore new pathways and new expressions. And that costs a lot from you. So if you don't want to do it the traditional way, or you're already cheating yourself out of the traditional way, you're definitely not going to have no energy to do it the creative way. And if you're not going to do it the creative way because that's too scary, but you're not going to do it the traditional way because that's too boring or that's too hard and repetitive, then what way are you going to do it? And you know another reason why it's important to have these conversations, because we've removed social welfare and basically any type of protections for human rights. So if you speak against the current administration, you might see yourself in a prison in another country without your citizenship. And you could be born here. So is it a matter of me fear-mongering or scaring you guys about potentials that don't have a high chance of happening? Or is it we're setting the whole entire world up to allow one very specific thing to happen, and we won't let anybody know about that thing because we'll probably be told no if we let them know too early. So we're only going to let them know that this is happening when there's going to be no opposition to its instatement. Another theory I have, because I think we've been talking about that for a little bit, these data centers and the overuse of global AI and like the hyper investment or like the hyper scaling nature attempt to do that is going to end up sending a portion of the world into a blackout that it may never recover from. I'm almost 100% sure of it. And it's interesting how much water you need to fuel these data centers. Unless you're going to actually like run an ocean dry, what other life force is full of water? Human beings. So what happens? What are you going to do with all those human beings that don't work, don't have a family, they're trying to run away from the system, they're just in a bunch of debt, they literally like can't add any value to society other than just like existing and just being like a walking sack of carbon, just like a walking carbon exhaust. A lot of you guys are staring at like the rose-colored glasses are like trying to be ripped off of your face, and you just keep on holding on to the frame, just like, no, let me have it, let me have it. You're gonna die behind those things, bro. I'm telling you right now. Okay, another interesting thing we can get into as well, because we're not just speaking about the people who are too stupid to get a high-skilled job, because I think those people who fell in for the college degree trap also are getting screwed right now. And it's funny because so many of the things that are happening to like the most vulnerable people have already been happening to like other people. But it's just like, because you in your position were just that had just enough to like look down and just pee on them a little bit and be like, you're not shit, you're not shit, you're not shit. Just because you had a little bit over them. You thought that you were high and mighty, and you thought that that rug was not going to get pulled out from under you, but you don't understand how this business shit works, bro. And the whole entire university system, especially when marginalized people were allowed in there, because you're not going to allow marginalized people anywhere unless you're making way more money off them than they would ever even understand. So the university system is a business. And it's a failing business, and it has been a failing business for the past couple of decades. And if it's a failing business that is also going through a culture war that is actively losing, and there isn't any successful alumni to keep on paying money to the school, to keep on showing up every year and paying off everybody's tuition, then who are they going to keep on increasing the prices on? The people who are dumb enough to show up there and have no guaranteed plan of paying all that shit off. I'm not shaming anybody who does have a degree or who went into debt trying to get one, but I hope you understand the debt for accessing information that is free, mind you, that was a whole part of the plan. It's punishment. Punishment to the poor for desiring a better life and hoping that you get into this debt slavery. So you are either completely controlled by the master that you work under because you have to pay off the master that gave you certification so you could get another master. And you're not able to pivot. So let's get into this little, and it's not too much of a conversation we got to get into. But remember this right here. And I'm not sure if it was 2008 specifically, but there was a time in American history where we were just shipping out our manufacturing jobs, just throwing manufacturing jobs to China. Again, I might be over-exaggerating it, but obviously I'm not because they have them all. And we were telling people, hey, you're getting laid off. You're not getting paid enough at this manufacturing job. You're getting like completely shit on at this manufacturing plant. Why don't you get your idiot ass in school and get a degree? And then maybe your idiot self can start paying your bills. You remember that when that happened? I hope everybody, especially the people who was looking down, who was getting accepted into 800 schools, I hope all of you guys remember this. Because what's happening now? Joe Biden lies about paying student debt relief so he can get into presidency, which he barely survives because he's a freaking a wind-up old person, just for the Trump presidency to double down right after, because him and Joe Biden are the best of friends behind cameras. I hope you guys understand that. Right after that, Donald Trump says, you know what? We can make a lot of money taking that shit right back from the people that we hate, because an educated class is not only more difficult to control, but an educated populace actually has a potential of holding us, the powerful, accountable for using the vulnerable systems and basically buying out our way through the government and through democracy, if you even want to call it that. So this is what happened. Manufacturing jobs, all these other jobs that, again, which if Democrats and like liberals really cared about the American people, they'd be focusing on all these jobs that are getting destroyed, small businesses that are getting destroyed and taken, but they're also bought by the corporate elite, so it doesn't matter. Stop looking at what the parties are representing and start looking at who's paying for the party to exist and who's paying for the campaign finances. And then you'll start realizing who really runs shit around here. But you, high and mighty, degreed person, boo-hoo, you're an idiot. You need to get a degree, and then you'll get a high-paying job. You, the idiot with a degree. How come there's no jobs paying? I have a degree from Harvard. I have a degree from Ivy League school. How come nobody is giving any opportunities? I'm not supposed to be working with him at McDonald's and Walmart and Amazon. I'm supposed to be working the good job, and I'm supposed to be shitting on that person who didn't go my route. But now I have a degree, which means nothing because I can't get a job, and now I'm in a whole lot more debt than the person that I was just talking shit on. So if the person that I was talking shit on decides to pivot themselves into a trajectory, or at least into a pathway that can start making them money, they will have no degree but real life skills and real world money and no debt. putting them in a position to get whatever new certifications will be required in this new world to start building an empire for themselves. While you with the degree and all these certifications are now sitting here in debt to a monetary system that is getting destroyed, an educational system that is getting destroyed and absolutely means nothing, and in a world that doesn't even give a fuck about your degree, because if you're black, if you're a woman, if you're disabled and you need accommodations for your job, you're just not gonna get hired now. Like, did you ever think about that? Did you ever think in the specific circumstances we're living in this world that it isn't the fact that you're not qualified anymore? Now your non-qualifying factor is your race, is your gender, is your identity. And now that we live in that world because we allowed a specific administration to take over. Sit here and think about that. Now that could be a viable reason as to why you don't have a job and you aren't supporting yourself. But you turn and look at this person saying, boo-hoo, do what I did and find success, but you aren't even successful. Amazing world we live in. Amazing circumstances we live in. And again, this isn't me shaming anybody who went and got a degree and is drowning in debt right now, because I understand you guys have a whole bunch of other issues that I can't solve. And I'm sending you all the love and mercy that it takes. But I need you to remember that this world we live in and the systems of oppression are impacting all of us. We can't just only worry about them when they start impacting us. Because if we have the empathy and the heart to care about them when they're impacting other people, maybe even other people that aren't in similar circumstances to us, it gives us an opportunity to stop it in its tracks right there, allowing us to address it so that person can be free to address what they need to and nobody else has to go through this type of shit. Because I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before, when multiple people start falling under the blanket of oppression, that's when you know they're starting to make legislation under making that permanent. And it's not about just punishing people. It's about identifying people in a way to where it justifies the abuse that you're about to put on them. So, just interesting conversation that we're having. And then also, I'm confused as to like, where did you guys think that, like, what does forgiving debt do for America? A country that's like 36 trillion, I might be even behind, but it's at least $36 trillion in debt right now. What would paying $5 trillion to Americans do? And mind you, people just want to like not have their like debt so they can like, I don't know, like pay other bills or go on vacation. But at the end of the day, how does any of the shit that you want to do make the United States money? The only way that debt will get paid off is if there's a guaranteed way that you are going to make more money without debt for this country than you being forced to pay that back. Because at least on the debt, that's guaranteed. Reparations, you could run away right after that. Final aspect of this, which, okay, it may not relate too much to kind of what we're getting into, but it does because I'm also building the Creative Conscious platform. The reason why I'm even making this video today and not doing a podcast is because I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the whole proposal for that platform, and then that'll just be something that we have sitting on the back of our minds and is just building along the way for the rest of these videos. So as it pertains to the platform that I'm building now, personally, I'm tired of attempting to do justice work and like legal work in the entertainment industry or in the creative field. I'm like a million% sure that it is just a, sounds even crazy saying this, it's so much more than a corporate gang. And I have a whole entire video explaining what I believe the whole criminal underworld is to the entertainment business. But I believe that the entertainment business is corporate gangsters and corporate mobsters, and then just dirty street mobsters realizing that both of them need to do their illicit, like illegal activity, and they need each other to do it, but they have to somehow find a way to legalize the environment and the pathways at which they're doing the illegal activity. So they just create this false reality with awards, with this, with that, with this. It's just, they just hyper validate this reality where they're going to win every single game. And the only reason, I'm telling you right now, the only reason it's even happening is for the sake of propagandizing the people and pushing drugs. It's people want to talk, so many people want to talk about how, and there's a handful of interviews from artists I've been listening to over the past couple of weeks, and it's, there's no money in the music business right now. There's no money in the music business right now. What if I told you guys that music isn't even the highest revenue producing product in the music industry? Now let me give you another story. What if I told you that the whole entire reason that the music business even started was because these mobsters in New York, Frank Sinatra and crew, not him specifically, but it was part of the gang, they needed to create environments to justify the underground selling of alcohol during the Prohibition. So they started holding these concerts and festivals. Mind you, I may be a little off from the history here, but they held these private events to where they can sell illegal product behind the scenes. And then that obviously turned into, well, how do we get the music without the event? How can we put the intangible music onto the tangible disc and then sell that material, create a whole business out of it? And effectively, and we're specifically talking about the music industry here, you have to think about the music itself like a drug. And it's just intangible energy placed into a physical product that can be consumed. But since you're not like eating the product, you're consuming the material on the product, it can damn near be consumed infinite times as long as you have that physical product. Mind you, I don't even mean to get too deep into this conversation because we're going to have a lot more about creative arts as it pertains, especially as I'm going through like my proposal and going on that whole business journey. But I'm trying, the reason why I even want to have this conversation with you guys right now, just the entertainment industry being a corporate gang, is creative artists, we have to let it fall. I've done just maybe more research than I probably should as it relates to this, not just the stars, but the executives and the shareholders and the people behind the scenes of this music industry. And it's just disgusting, disgusting story after disgusting story after nasty, vile human being after the next, after the next, after the next. And that's what brought me to the conclusion that this is genuinely a gang. Not only in the, you can't get in if you're not like us, but in the sense that when one of us does negative stuff in here that impacts somebody outside of the gang, we will humiliate the person outside of the gang into remembering a false version of the story or a false version of events. We will protect this person who's inside the gang to make sure that reality doesn't tear them down from the fantasy that we're selling the world. And the amount of FOMO and the desperation that is created from people outside of the gang wanting to be in the gang is just what plays such a pivotal role in allowing the things that take place within it to take place. Because there's so much of an overwhelming desire to get in and to be accepted by or be a part of that it ends up masking the real atrocities that are happening within these gangs, within these cliques. Okay? So, to my creative artists, and this is one of the main reasons to why I'm building the platform, the Creative Conscious, you should be able to build, and not just make a little bit of money, but to build real community on your creative journey, and allow the people who believe in you and your creative spirit to support you along the way of becoming all the creative aspects of your journey, rather than you trying to force yourself to be something and then do all these things to try to force the world to see you in some kind of way, or to enter the industry with a pure heart and a pure soul, an industry full of horrible villains, like comic book villains, and to have them take advantage of you to corrupt your gift, corrupt your mind, your soul, and then throw you away as if you're not still valuable and amazing, and you don't have a voice or some gift to contribute to the mainstream or to the culture as a whole. The ethos, or one of the main philosophies that I'm kind of funding this platform with, is everybody has a role to play in the creation and cultivation of art. But in recognizing that everybody has a role to play in the cultivation of art and the culture, that should allow us not only the ability to feel included, even if we're not on the center stage or on the mainstream, but on top of that, appreciate the people who do get the mainstream and do get positioning on the center stage. Because now that allows us to continue to work to allow that opportunity to happen. And the hope is, hey, maybe I'll be there, or maybe I'll be a part of somebody's story who is allowed to reach those heights. Because maybe I don't even want to be that person who's up there. Maybe I just want to support. Maybe I just want to be a fan. Maybe I just want to be a contributor. But how can I allow my role and my place in the world to positively influence the culture, creating it, cultivating it, sharing it, and becoming something because of it? Now, I'm a ridiculous dreamer. And I would love if the powers that be in this current system would love to participate with me and work with me side by side on a project to make that happen, and to really, really create some lasting community economy of creativity and artists around the world. But I don't look like Mark Zuckerberg, so I'm not getting any VC money. And I don't want the powers that be in this current system to have any authoritative power over my platform. I only want them, especially if it's weird people. Actually, I don't even want weird people investing in my shit. You could keep your money because you made it doing some weird shit. There's going to be a lot more celebrities and a lot more executives getting exposed for doing vile, nasty, sick, disgusting stuff, especially in this entertainment industry. And because I'm willing to accept it's damn near every single person, I want the platform that I'm building to be the new underground, to create the new stars, to birth the new collectives, to give birth to the new creative industries. So we, young people who still give a fuck, who still have a heart in our body, who still actually want to be here for the collective and still raise the culture, we still have a place to go, and we still have something to contribute to, even if it's just building our own brand and our own story as this old world dies. Because in its destruction, that's going to create the foundation for us to build the world that we want and to truly contribute organically. Especially in a world where we have things like Kai Cenat Streamer University. Like, do you guys really think that you're going to go to school to learn how to be a streamer and you're going to get a better income, or you're going to get paid more than just going to school to be somebody who works a 9-to-5 job and then just like builds your way up in the system? And also another question I have for that whole streamer shit too. What is the next phase of because you guys are so desensitized to controversy and like dark humor and comedy and all types of just like random shit. What is the next phase of like sedative content creator other than like an AI creator? Because no new streamer is going to compete with Kai Cenat right now. There is nobody. You don't have the money, you don't have the connections, you don't have the time, you don't have the ability to beat the algorithm as a regular person. You'd have to get heavily supported and put on by somebody who's already being paid and already put on. I personally think that the streamer bubble is dead. With Kai Cenat and Duke Dennis, once they got up on that shit, bro, it was done. I think a lot of those big tech platforms actually, especially the ones like the ones that came out of Silicon Valley, the Facebook, the Instagram, all the social media platforms, and a lot of these apps that refuse to iterate, most of them are dead. I think the reason whenever I feel like I lose myself, I'm starting to realize like I just took a whole chunk of like 5 minutes to just talk shit on somebody I don't even know. So I apologize. But we'll wrap up this weekly rundown with, if you're smart and you're a creative artist, you are going to be willing to work that side job. You are going to be willing to put the drugs down, put the jewelry down, put the guns down, and to actually like figure out who the fuck you are. Mind you, you might not have to put the drugs down to figure that out. But what I'm asking you to do is to put everything that you're distracting yourself with down so you can focus more on what it is you're running from, because it's probably yourself. And then once you figure that out, which is crazy because nobody else can help you with that, once you figure that out, then you're going to realize, oh, I have something in here that the world might not be ready for yet, but I have something in here that I want to share with the world, that I think the world deserves to have from me. And I'm the only person that can give the world this from this angle, with this passion, with this type of intention. So if I'm the only one that can, who else's responsibility is it other than mine to make sure that it sees the light of day? We'll get a whole lot more into the platform that we're building next week, because next week we'll basically just I'll describe the whole entire platform for you guys. And at that point, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do, other than Patreon and Cosmic Nomad, is going to be share that platform with every single creative artist you know. Every single creative artist you know, and force them to watch the, I don't know, like 2 or 3 hours that it's going to be, because I'm going to cut it up properly. Force every creative artist you know to watch that shit. Because I'm telling you right now, if we don't build this new economy and this new ecosystem, and they bring AI in here, we're going to be done. Creative arts will be done, if they ever existed in the first place. But capitalism is seeing itself to end pure creativity and pure culture, simply because under, whether you want to call it fascism or a monarchy or an oligarchy, you don't want the people to speak. You don't want the people. I actually made a very interesting connection about this, maybe like a day or two ago. But you don't want the people to speak the truth, because that will connect them on an energy that cannot be controlled unless you them. The connection that I was talking about like 20 seconds ago was, music was a medium for poor people to share their truth. Mainstream media was a tool for the wealthy to share their lies. But because the lies of the mainstream media were able to be more popular and more risk adverse than the music was, they were able to end up buying music and then using music as a subsequent marketing and propaganda machine. So that's why you won't see creative artists who actually care about the culture or care about the art anymore, because even if they brought some work forward caring about the art, they wouldn't get it funded. Even if they shared something that would break the status quo, it's not getting funded unless it's creating a trend to inspire more people to do some meaningless shit and get more money for your corporate overlords. The reason why I want to see the current entertainment industry blow itself up so bad is because I genuinely want to see what direction these wealthy people who've made themselves so wealthy off the destruction of black culture and black people, I want to see what direction they go to next. Are you going to take all your money and just move into real estate, take your money and throw it into offshore banks? Or do you actually have the means and the visionary, pioneering direction to create something new? Especially for the artists you act like you care about, but you obviously don't give a shit about. Funny thing I heard from Leo Cohen. There's an interview I watched Leo Cohen saying that he was at a golf course with all his little other rich white dude buddies who make money like running scams and shit. And they're all making fun of him because they're all lawyers and doctors and this and that. And he says, okay, not directly this, but this is what I took from it. He says, I make my money pimping out artists. Pimping out artists. This is how the executives look at the artists who make them their fortunes. Like prostitutes? That's what creative artists are to you? Executives? The executives that don't let artists release music, don't let artists connect with their fans, don't let artists do any fucking thing? I'm telling you, AI is not going to destroy. And I made a video months ago. AI is not going to destroy the creative arts industry. It will just expose how exploitative executives and majors and the industry titans have been, how much money they've been bleeding by selling dreams and scamming souls, and how if we creative people can create a creative enough system that puts the culture on top of everything, beyond the capitalist and his ability to feed his 8 families, 7 of which are hidden in other countries, then we might have an opportunity to create so much wealth for not just ourselves, but for the world, and to redirect that into the community appreciation projects that these billionaires will refuse to pay for, to reinvest that in the people who are less fortunate that need help, beyond just monetary gain, but real cultural contribution and community engagement opportunity. We, the creatives, have to be responsible for the culture. We can't keep allowing the capitalists to steal the compensation that we deserve from it, and then also to invest in their own lives outside of it and leave the culture to be dry. It's a good time to get in the video because I'm going to show you what the corporate overlords have planned for the American slaves. I feel uplifted. Can you leave me? Okay. As you can tell by the title of this video, Mars, the Metaverse, and modern slaves on Mother Earth. I don't know what the word is where you start everything with the same letter, but bingo. I've had this sitting in, again, I was supposed to make this a paid course, but then I realized like I want to be different than these other thought leaders. I want to be so apart from them that like if I have some real value that is worthy of being paid for, what if I just gave it to you for free? Because you know what the important thing about doing something like that is? Of course, people may not respect it because it is free, which I don't blame you. But if I make something like sacred knowledge to myself, of course, but if I make value free, then I'm showing you the value is not in what you would potentially be paying to access the information. The value will only happen after you already have the information and what you decide to do with it. That's what I'm going for. And the second you realize, when you start to see these things and see these truths and to apply them to your life, or at least twist your mind to understand them in a way that you could potentially apply them, then you're going to start to realize, it's some of the most valuable information that exists in this world is of free access. And it's not a matter of who has the truth or who has what's completely right all of the time. It's just a matter of if you're willing to take action and if you're willing to learn from those actions. Okay, I'm honestly not going to lie to you. I don't even know why the fuck we got into that last part. Learning from actions. My bad, gang. I don't know. I had to clean it up with something. But this is going to be my handful of theories that I believe will happen to people that just assume artificial intelligence is not going to do anything. And it's this industrial revolution will not drastically transform the entirety of the American system. One thing that I forgot to include on here, which I will forget if I don't mention it right now, is that all of this that is I'm about to explain will happen will be validated by the merging of church and state and forcing the world, or at least the American world, to submit to the salvation cult, the post-death salvation cult of Christian nationalism. Because that is the only type of psychosis that will allow rich people to actively beat the piss out of poor people and claim that it's justified under some type of like divine rule. Like, it makes zero sense in the modern world for human beings to be the ones benefiting off of systems that human beings have apparently agreed upon to severely disadvantage 99% of people for the sake of one person who can't even benefit off of all of that, to be able to exist in a fantasy land where they will never be able to like reject that fantasy and then subsequently redisperse those resources to the people they were stolen from. It's just a very, very, very parasitic culture at the end of the day. And if you're hoarding resources, mind you, a world that makes infinite resources, if you're hoarding resources, it's got nothing to do with proper distribution or allocation. It's got everything to do with power. And centralizing salvation into, hey, not only are you guys spiritually dry, but you guys are also materially dry. And even if you don't want to submit yourself and your beliefs and your system to this world we live in, you have to submit your ability to us, because you will not have access to anything to sustain yourself without submitting to our material hoarding of reality. So Christian nationalism will be the thing that gets used to validate all the ways in which billionaires are coming together to just, for lack of a better term, rape America. The reason why I decided to make this very, very poor circle on the inside to represent Mother Earth, and then I've expanded macro and micro, is because I believe that we are getting Eiffel Towered and beat from the sides at the same exact time. If you don't understand what I mean by Eiffel Towered, just look up what an Eiffel Tower is on Urban Dictionary, and then look up a picture of an Eiffel Tower on Google Images, and then make that connection. We're going to start here with Zuckerberg, because I already said a handful of times I do not like this person. I don't even know him, but I know what he's done, and I know what he has the potential to do, and I'm not a fan of any of it. And I'd hope that, it's crazy. Zuckerberg should be under the circumstances that this world put Julian, and especially American government, put Julian Assange under. Or Edward Snowden. You should be running for your life. But Zuckerberg is not. And you know why? Because his mass surveillance tool of digital psychosis is actually the perfect tool that the CIA could never create. And what's even better about a private citizen creating a tool like that is the CIA can use it just by paralleling themselves to it and having no direct connection to it, while Zuckerberg takes all the hits. And then you just make sure that if Zuckerberg is willing to publicly take the hits for his company and the destruction it's doing to the world, you will protect him on the back end. Because why would the US government destroy a platform like Meta when it is the easiest mass surveillance tool? It is the perfect mass surveillance tool to just be coupled with the smartphone that literally doesn't allow any crevice, any surface of this reality to go unrecorded. And we are the ones like Pokemon Go damn near recording every single thing of our reality, recording everyone, everything, every single thing to post on our account and get likes and views. And so many people are enslaved to this, looking at the world through this, instead of looking at the world and saying, wow, what a beautiful world. Let me take a picture of it. It's, oh my goodness, look at that. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh my goodness, look at that. And everyone's just moving like this until Zuckerfuck's new toy comes around, the goggles. So now instead of staring through one eye, how about you stare through two of them? Amazing how that's going to work out, right? Amazing how that's going to work out. Did you guys end up seeing the interviews that he's been doing, speaking about how he now, after making everybody lonely as shit and putting them into their own personal echo chambers, Zuckerberg finally cares that nobody has friends anymore. And he thinks, well, you know, all those third spaces and public community or communing engagement opportunities that I've destroyed by centralizing everyone's attention to these social media platforms? Yeah, I want to apologize by giving you guys fake robot friends. Mind you, this will make me a trillionaire if you guys buy it, but I want to do something right for humanity. After sending people into eating disorders, into suicidal ideation, into losing their friends, into cheating on their partners, after doing all of this, I want to help you by giving you guys fake video game friends to complement the loneliness that you're feeling because of the world that I already destroyed for you beforehand. And it's the more he speaks, the more I hate him. Because it's lies. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. Everybody go ahead and read that book, Careless People. That is an expose speaking about Facebook and what goes on in those inner workings, what hasn't been told to the world. Because somehow Zuckerberg's marketing, I don't know, what is it, like the white male autistic genius? You guys will let them do anything. Elon Musk did a Nazi salute. But because he's rich and quirky autistic, you guys are not going to hold him accountable. You know what's funny? I'm autistic. But you know the worst part about that? Because I'm black, you guys are already hyper-focusing on me, waiting for a flaw to come out, waiting for me to do something wrong. So when I start to stim, or when I start to, I don't know, stutter my words, when I start to behave non-traditionally, that makes you even more afraid than just my blackness alone. And I get doubly punished. But Zuckerberg can create a digital sugar, can hire top psychologists to find ways to fuck your children's brains, and he will not get punished. He won't even as much as go to jail for a year. He won't even lose his company. I want to put on the screen right now a list of all the companies that are actively suing Meta and Mark Zuckerberg for his faulty business practices. And then I want to put a picture of Mark Zuckerberg at the inauguration of Donald Trump. And I want you guys to tell me that the only reason he's getting so buddy-buddy with Donald Trump isn't to protect himself from all of that and to maintain ownership over his bastard company. The reason why I don't care about speaking down on somebody like Zuckerberg or Elon Musk is because if you give me even a fraction of the resources that they had for any of the failures that they've done in their life, I guarantee you I could do, my projects will run like gazelles. I can make a pig fly on my projects. But again, it's me tooting my own horn a little bit. Understood. Maybe I have no right to be this confident. Maybe I don't have the traction to support it. But Zuckerberg stole the idea of Facebook in the first place. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Oh, my bad. You have to be. Finish it for me, guys. Finish it for me, guys. Now, why is it so important to speak about Zuckerberg not being held accountable for the first phase of mental health crises that he brought to our amazing country? The loneliness culture, that is a very broadband word to use to describe what we're talking about here. But the loneliness epidemic, which I personally believe is enslaving the individual person to whatever algorithm of whatever platform you want them on the most. You know what's hilarious? None of these social media platforms were like, you know what? Maybe we can retain users because they're going to want to use our platform so much because it actually makes their real world a better place. The fear was if your real world is too good, then you won't use our platform anymore. The fear wasn't, well, what happens in a society where people are on average using their phones 10 to 15 hours a day? What world even is that? Who even goes outside anymore? The personal echo chamber isolation is enslavement to the algorithm. Your phone is a grand tool, a device that can be used to amplify the life that you live from the comfort of your own home, if you're fortunate enough to have one, and if you're smart enough to use it effectively. But if you aren't and you start using it to complement the lack of accommodations you have in your life, lack of ability to go out into the world and to go to different places because it's too expensive or you don't have transportation, hey, you can go to 20 different worlds on your phone right here. You can watch internet corn, and from the same seat that you're watching internet corn, you can turn on a Netflix movie. And from that same seat, you can click into Instagram and text your friends. And from that same seat, you can click into Snapchat. And from that same seat, you can play a mobile game. You don't have to go to the grocery store, and then from the grocery store, you got to go drop those off at home, and then go to the park, and you have to hope your friends are at the park. And if your friends aren't at the park, you got to find something else to do. And if you can't find something to do, then maybe you're going to have to go on an excursion or an adventure with the people that are there and do something other than go to the park. And then maybe when you go on that excursion, you have an experience that's like, oh my goodness, this is so fun. I saw a new place. I met new people. I did something that I'm never going to do again. And this all just started as, hey, I walked outside of my house and I went to the groceries, and at the grocery store I saw somebody, or maybe not even at the grocery store, maybe just passing by. I saw somebody and they wanted to hang out, and we went and hung out, and we just let life show us what life wanted to show us. And we participated in creating experiences and creating these lasting memories that you can't expect. You can't just like throw, hey, well, show up here to this event and you're just not going to be lonely anymore. When we're on the phone, we're training ourselves, we're training the phone to learn what we like so it can keep us on the phone, viewing what we like as much as possible. But we're also training ourselves to quickly swipe away from and to quickly run away from everything that we dislike or we're afraid of or makes us uncomfortable, making us a lot more sensitive to the real world that exists out there, making it only more and more and more convenient for these platforms and these tools to, in a grand sense, replace us, but making it a lot easier for these tools to keep us locked in, apart from the responsibility we need to take for the reality we're trying to create or for the person that we're trying to become. When so many people are individualized at the mercy of this algorithm, and think about this, the algorithm is like an AI, it's like a perfect AI slave, but it's just serving you content right now. It can't fully mobilize itself to do tasks for you. It can only do its task very effectively. Now imagine when it's a robot tool that you can talk to, you can cry to, you can have like seemingly meaningful conversation with. What happens when that becomes the crutch for you to stop going out into the world and making friends and having those experiences and even desiring to participate in the ambiguity that is just regular life. Ambiguity, in the sense I'm using it, is just like the randomness of going outside and then, hey, some new experience just happened and like, that was cool. But I never expected that to happen. But it happened just because I decided to show myself somewhere and just let the universe take the reins. And are we losing our humanity in sacrificing that? Pursuing just to pursue, not with an expectation in mind, but pursuing just to pursue. And think about, in a world where artificial intelligence is this ultimate convenience, you're basically paying the machine to give you almost everything that you want, in the sense of answering every single one of your prompts. You can't treat a human being like that. A human being, especially a human being who's rooted in a different truth than you, is not going to coddle you in your insecurities if the truth that they're holding on to goes contradictory to yours. And you have to be strong enough to not only be able to regulate yourself emotionally, but you have to actively participate in conversation and allow yourself to be wrong. And allow yourself to learn from your being wrong, because your being wrong will not hurt nobody except yourself and other people if you want to take it out on them. But at the end of the day, your ignorance will only lock you in a box, will only keep you sedated, will only keep you afraid of expanding out to the world, because change might be there and change might force you to lose control. And a lot of people don't want to lose control over the very few things that they already feel like they have control over in this life, especially as adults. I know I'm bouncing, but this is going to lead us not addressing the loneliness culture and not wanting to hold people like Zuckerberg and these tech companies who are going for growth at the mercy of human decency and mental health accountable, will lead to the self-induced or socialized schizophrenia that I've been talking about a handful on my TikTok page. So hopefully you guys, when these terms start to get viral, hopefully you guys remember where the hell they came from. Because I've been doing a handful of work going insane trying to cut this shit up, bro. And like, this isn't just no freaking regular freaking life coach on this motherfucker. This is real philosophy in here. The self-induced schizophrenia is going to be not the digital psychosis was phase one. It was us purely giving validation to this internet world and these .com sites. Now have which become apps. The next phase of this is going from the addiction to the phone and deciding, I'm going to make this little visual reality that I'm experiencing on my phone, in this VR reality, I'm going to make it one of one to the real world that I should be living in with my full being. I keep on sitting here and wanting to ask you guys, like, you're going to let Mark Zuckerberg get this close to your face and take all of that data from you. You're an idiot, bro. I'm sorry. If you've seen Zuckerberg's track record and you let him get this close to your face, you're an idiot, bro. And you deserve everything that comes on the other end of that. It'll be, the reason why I call it schizophrenia, and again, the TikTok therapists are going to blow up on me for using schizophrenia and all these medical terms outside of their perceived use. But the reason why I decided to take that term and to apply it to what's about to happen in this country is because the only people, or at least the people who will be the most vulnerable in these types of circumstances, will just be the people who are too poor to afford experiencing reality. Okay? Too poor or too ignorant, but we're just going to talk about it because earlier in the video I said artificial intelligence is creating a world of have and have-nots. The poors will be the first person experimented on for this, whether it's experimenting physical, like Neuralink into people, or if it's experimenting people in the VR universe and we don't know the cognitive effects of frying somebody's brain directly next to their eyes. But the first test subjects will be the least, will be the most vulnerable people that you know. And actually, this is what I was trying to hit on. I actually came up with this maybe a couple of days ago. But you sit here and think about this. I know you guys love hearing the Pilgrim story and how just these good old Europeans came to America and Plymouth Rock and then just had a party with some indigenous people and then took out 100 million indigenous people to go build their country. I know you guys love hearing that story, not the 100 million part, but I digress. You guys forget that the first people who were sent out here, especially that Roanoke colony, please go look that up. That's a very interesting American story that I keep on forgetting, I keep on not hearing when people want to bring up accounts of the Pilgrims. But the first people that were sent to this country, because this was supposed to be a suicide mission, the first people sent here were debtors, prisoners, convicts, like the bottom of the barrel, because they weren't supposed to survive. This was supposed to be bullshit. So if you can see that and recognize back then, these expeditions and excursions, they are very strategic. They may have lied about history, but if you go and find the truth, you're going to realize this is a very strategic political mission. This also makes me think that the American Revolution was completely fake, and it's just purely propaganda to make us feel like we are not still connected to the British Empire. It's like being able to basically birth another Britain, but parallel it instead of be connected to it, so they can still use all of their grit and their passion from this other place that's like not connected to being British, but it's all just going into a pit that back ends and funds the colonial European machine anyway. But okay, to the point that I'm trying to get to is, if it was debtors and prisoners and slaves that came to America first, and opportunistic capitalists that came to America first, who do you think are going to be the first people they send in to test out these VR realities? Poor people, mentally ill people, homeless people, everybody who is vulnerable in society is going to get, and it'll be sold to you as like an opportunity to pioneer the future. Hey, actually, this is a perfect time to clip in, which I won't do too much discussing on this, but this is a perfect time to clip in a VR headset trial that was used on a mentally ill person as a means of healing them, which obviously didn't heal them, and I think sent them into a even deeper psychological spiral. I'm going to clip that picture right here and the specific documentary that I heard it in. And I'd reference that just so you guys know this is what's going to happen to your country and all the people in it, for the sake of progressing science at the mercy of humanity. And how is Zuckerberg going to be a trillionaire off this? Because imagine how many wealthy people, like if these people can't just directly have a civil war and just have us destroy each other, and then they can rebuild off of that, like, because Zuckerberg has underground bunkers, and a lot of these, I'm pretty sure there was just an account that came out, again, this is alleged, $21 trillion of United States taxpayer money has gone into funding underground bunkers for the elites on the western side of the world. I believe it 100%. Because they know the political and social unrest that is being influenced by the mainstream media and also by collective ignorance is going to lead to a social outburst. And that event is going to be cataclysmic. These people just got people's emotions up for the 2024 election as if the world was going to end. And then they just dropped us off. They want something to happen. Now, of course, as a marginalized person, I'm telling you, don't fucking do it. Don't get involved in this. They're going to even try to sell some like martyrdom too. Don't get in on it. They want us to destroy each other so they can just reinvest in whoever wins their side and then start rebirthing America without the opposition, because the opposition thought they were smart enough to go fight against the people who have like 50 guns in their cellars. They don't want to have to do this, but again, if we the people are just so lazy and desensitized, aren't willing to destroy each other, this is a perfect opportunity to start wiping people off the streets and wiping the undesirables out of your society by forcing them to live in a digital reality, which will probably be the only thing they can afford. Because I'm telling you right now, housing prices and rent, dude, rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $2,500 in San Diego. In LA, maybe $2,000 for a one-bedroom apartment. Dude, mortgage from people who signed mortgage leases 30 years ago, 25 years ago, yeah, they're paying 2 bands for their whole entire house every month right now. 30 years ago. For an entire house, they're paying 2 bands. And they own it. They're going to own it. You're paying 2 bands a month to a landlord who can just decide that they're going to kick you out. And all the money that you spent paying these bills means nothing because it's going into somebody's checkbook and it's not actually going in to develop credit or a savings or some type of like mutual aid support for you if you aren't able to keep up with the ever increasing prices of living. So you're either going to shack up with somebody, have a bunch of kids that you can't afford, and then force yourself to work to afford the family that you can't feed, or you're going to die. So get ready for this. It really doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. And Zuckerberg is very confident because he knows that it genuinely, as long as he's working with like this little CIA military branch, he doesn't have to actually create a good product ever. He just has to find a way to continue to exploit the ignorance of the people he's already stolen the souls from. I really do hate that guy, bro. You guys don't understand how horrible that is. Now we'll move into the Elon, the macro part of this, because that was micro. We're going to make people feel so small. The only place they'll ever feel big in again is the metaverse. Zuckerberg will be a trillionaire off that. And just like that movie Elysium, which I'm not sure how specifically this ties into it, or if I'm even saying a fact from it, but the world was basically such dust, like just such burnt, scorching dust, that the only place that even resembled humanity was this like off-world, machine-looking manufactured Earth that these people were living on. And it was only the super elite were living there. And they had the super high technology, could cure any disease. And it's like, wow, that almost feels like where we're headed if we aren't already there right now. Wealthy people will starve the poor to the point where we just die or we destroy each other for their entertainment, and then they're going to reinvest in whoever they want to believe in their vision. And they'll just continue to go off living in their little ignorant echo chambers of yes men and girls they have to pay for to have sex with them because they're fucking weird. Not the girls, the guys. Jeff Bezos, I'm looking right at you, brother. No. What does Elon have to do with this? That antichrist sack of shit. Elon Musk has to remind you that he's the wealthiest person on planet Earth by buying elections in the most democratic country on planet Earth. The reason why he's buying these elections, because mind you, we don't even have to do too much discussing into what Elon's doing. I already don't like the guy. The dude's a freaking Nazi at the end of the day. American people, sit here and remember, you let a dude do a Nazi salute at the conservative convention or whatever. Dude, the only thing left for him to do is say, "Hail Hitler." That is the only thing for him to do. And the worst part is you will still, if he says "Hail Hitler," you guys will be like, well, he didn't say it exactly like the German Aryans say it. He said it with a little bit of that South African twinge, which it doesn't mean white supremacy. It just means we love Germany, which is just somebody being proud of their culture. So it's not Nazi. It's just scientifically, well, when you say it from this angle, well, when he puts his arm straight out exactly like Hitler, he didn't actually, oh wait, he did it twice? Well, it's not, you know what, maybe he was good. This is America, bro. We're going to spend more time acting as if the truth isn't the truth and then blaming people for getting angry at the truth that we're living under than addressing what the fuck reality is. So I don't give two shits about Elon Musk, bro. And I don't think he's that rich. And even worse than all of this shit, you guys let a foreign billionaire buy our country, blow it up, and then walk away as if nothing happened. And mind you, we still haven't even felt the full effects of Doge destroying the federal government and welfare as it could be, because you guys still have to feel the effects of the tariffs. And when you finally realize you're losing all your jobs, tariffs are destroying small business and destroying the economy, and you have no federal government to lean on because Elon already went and destroyed the fuck out of that, who is there going to be to blame? Black people? We didn't vote for this. You voted for this because you thought that this was only going to punish us because you were mad that we were fighting for human rights instead of being mad at the rich people who were stealing them from you. And you have a Nazi in presidency, or at least adjacent to the presidency. So go ahead and shut the fuck up with all that shit you be talking, bro. And it's amazing, bro, just seeing just nerds from all ages just staring at Elon Musk like, Elon is God, Elon is God, Elon is God, Elon can't do anything wrong. You guys better be ready to die behind that. I'm telling you right now. Elon Musk is going to go out of his way to buy federal election because there is no investor that is going to support the SpaceX project or his mission to Mars. It is a back pocket, I literally pulled this out of my ass decision. Every single one of these tech billionaires saw Trump's presidency as an opportunity to incapacitate the American people and just strip every dime from them while also being protected by the American military. And if they fail, nobody's going to blame them. You just pick a new villain. Is it black people? Is it women? Is it gay people? Is it transgender? Just pick somebody. There's a Russian roulette of people we can blame for all the issues that have been created by the same exact demographic of human being, which 46 presidents happen to look exactly like.
And have your attention, please. Library will be closing in 30 minutes.
You're going to buy the federal government for the things I described, stop the people from moving, because the powers that be and the politicians, they really want an autocracy. Or they really want like totalitarianism. They don't care about democracy. Because democracy means you actually have to care about the people that you're representing, and you have to fight for them at the mercy of what you want or what pays your bills. Because you're a public servant. Or you could just take money from billionaires, do whatever they tell you to do, and then also be a millionaire in a public servant position. I guess you can choose. So billionaires will go buy the government. Mind you, AIPAC has already bought a whole bunch of these government officials. So if you thought that this buying out politicians was just new or like fresh, realize AIPAC and them they already won. How many candidates are being sponsored or funded by AIPAC in the United States of America? And you cannot tell me that is not foreign influence. But it doesn't matter because Russia already used Meta and all their little Facebook platforms in 2016 to basically get Donald Trump an election that he was never supposed to win. And what's funny is that we're changing history to say, at least in Oklahoma public schools, I'm pretty sure, the superintendent wants to change history to say that the 2020 election was stolen, but there is real evidence that the 2016 election was stolen and was rigged, and the 2024 election was lied about the vote count, but nobody is bringing that up. How crazy is that? And if somebody wanted to actually make a real case, you would be right, but you wouldn't win because Trump has already changed so much of the internal of this government. This is not the United States of America. This is the United States of Donald Trump and whoever the fuck Donald Trump wants to exact his mission. Elon is using taxpayer money. Didn't I just tell you? Nobody is going to invest in Elon doing that stupid Mars shit. Dude, we're going to war over resources on Earth right now. Why the hell would anybody try to go to Mars? You're an idiot? Yes, he is. Mind you, you guys are going to call me out for that. You can be smart in some aspects of your life and an absolute idiot in others. Elon, I want to believe, is an idiot in a handful more than he is smart at. But the fact that you guys glaze the fuck over what he is smart in will just completely invalidate holding him accountable to being a real human being or a stand-up person. Dude's got like 800 kids. I don't only believe that Elon was strictly there to fund or to bankroll the presidency or Donald Trump. Another aspect of his existence, other than just being used to like validate the bald noggin of because I can't say like the other thing of billionaires, he was used to test, just like 2021, January 6th, Elon was used to test to see how far the Nazism could go in America. Why did I mention January 6th? That was a test to see how ready America was for the revival of the KKK and how far the party could go. The only reason why so many people have jumped behind Donald Trump's bandwagon are because they understand the ferocity of his base and they understand that they have a better chance of not only accessing the White House, but getting what they want to done. And on the back end of that, getting rich too, if they just support the Trump machine instead of call it out. Because if you call it out, you're damn near, it's not just Washington, your whole entire life might be over. If that's not a cult, I don't know what is. I literally could not tell you what is. Because this dude is the definition of a cult leader, running a cult, and a cult runs our country. And there is, when you're dealing with a cult, you're not dealing with truth and lies anymore. You're literally dealing with a group of people that is convinced that they are being fed reality from a singular person and whoever happens to be orchestrating that person. And they will destroy reality based on what that one person is telling them. Because their sustenance comes from the truth that is being fed to them, not the truth of reality. Because they are afraid of or hate reality so much, the only truth that allows them to feel peace or accepting of their existence is that of the cult leader that is willing to validate them in their nasty ass, weird ass ways. Because why would we as a collective of people validate you for hating other people? Why would we validate you for dehumanizing other people? Why would we even want you to feel okay feeling those feelings? If that is detrimental to the community and the culture that we are trying to build out here, as people who can recognize there's a bunch of different kinds of people in the world, and we're probably all going to have to humble ourselves in our individuality and serving those needs first to make sure we can be a part of the communities that can make sure as many people as possible get their needs met. I think Elon was used to just to validate the Nazism. Because if the people took that very, very wrong, then think about it. It's not like Donald Trump put a freaking Nazi symbol up. So it's like, you could just distance yourself from it, like, oh, that's not meant to happen. But you have to try it. You have to test it to see how far are the people deluded enough to validate this bullshit that we're doing. And the people did it. The people created their own. That's the best part about Trump's community. Like, Trump will do like this, Exhibit A, and then people will say, well, that is not Exhibit A. That is Exhibitaba. Therefore, it is not illegal. And then anybody who has like more than 3 brain cells is just sitting there like, what the fuck? But again, you're not allowed to be intellectual unless that intellect falls beneath the ignorance that is supporting the American machine right now, because we don't need anybody knowing any truth other than, hey, it is your life or America's life. Pick and choose. Now, beyond those two, there are 2 important technological transitions happening on Earth that I want to make sure. Let me make sure this is still recording first. But there are 2 very important technological transitions that are happening on Earth right now that I think are very, very important to discuss before we start speaking about how this whole technological revolution is basically replacing the undesirable class of Americans for anybody who's willing to get on their knees and put this system in their throat. Personally, and again, this is just a personal theory because I don't want you guys getting banned or blocked or any of that nonsense. I'm already shadow banned like nobody's business on TikTok, so let's try to keep that away from YouTube. Trying to actually get somewhere at this. Crypto's a scam. 100% I guarantee you like a motherfucker, crypto's a scam. And until there is some type of intangible value to tie crypto to that is not the US dollar, I refuse to believe in it. The dollar was backed by gold. There was actually some kind of value independent of the creators of the currency that could be denoted. Mind you, transforming or transitioning the whole entire world onto the dollar standard instead of the gold standard, that was a means of supporting America's existence. But there's no way in fucking hell this crypto shit is real. Because the people who are sourcing the valuable tokens or whatever the hell, the valuable currency, they own the machine too. And every machine these people have ever built is just a scam to steal money if they can't create it off rip. What I believe crypto is really going to be a tool for, because again, when have wealthy people ever created a tool to actually raise up lower people? You know what the best way to do that? Pay your damn taxes. But you don't do that. You sell dreams to more vulnerable people who've already bought your lies. And then you say, oh, well, this is the final lie that's going to get you what you want. This isn't it. This is just another lie that's going to get you more of what they already don't have. So in my super hater brain, I think crypto is completely a scam until someone can prove me otherwise, which I guarantee you guys are going to have a hard time doing that because I already have my own philosophy of what an NFT has the potential to be. And nobody has brought those types of conversations to the table yet for me to understand, okay, somebody understands intangible value and how we need to collectively participate in denoting that. And because you haven't said that, I know it's a scam. People are going to be so poor and so desperate. And we've also removed the crypto, basically like scam police in the United States. And we're actively destroying any type of financial regulators in this country to protect big tech for all the scams that they be doing. So, hello, nobody's safe anymore. But one thing that we can agree on here is people will be so desperate for an opportunity to come out of the debt slavery that they're already in, whether it's wage slavery or they're actually in debt, medical bills, school bills, mortgage. There's going to be a wave. I don't know if it's going to be 18 months or if it's going to be 5 years of crypto scam, and just rug pulls. And it's not how can we make the most amount of people to make a lot of money in crypto. It's going to be how can we create people who never had access to even money in the real world? How can we transition their debt into digital debt? Because now they aren't just at the mercy of who they owe the debt to. They will damn near be owned by the platforms that they are in digital debt to, meaning that they are owned indefinitely by the owners of said platform that I'm describing. Crypto is one of the biggest globalized tools to scam the bottom half of society into forward validating a financial system that will be completely owned, rigged, and corrupted by the wealthiest people anyway. And it's completely back-ended and supported by who? Wealthy people. The best, like, for poor people, you're selling your life away. For wealthy people, this is a huge opportunity to launder your money through the American system. I'm going to put a picture up right here of Donald Trump doing a crypto dinner. I don't know how this is not illegal, especially as a government official, especially as the president of the United States. I don't know how this isn't illegal. But again, if you look like Uncle Sam or Uncle Sam adjacent, you do whatever the fuck you want in this country. And Donald Trump deciding that he was going to, Donald Trump decided that he's going to offer up a crypto token or like a meme coin, and the highest investors basically pay to play for a seat at the dinner table with him, which you won't hear anything specifically because Donald Trump hasn't even created an original idea this whole entire presidency. He's literally the marketing major for it. He's just marketing his own Trojan horse to make sure that his audience continues to validate whatever he, quote unquote, is doing. So the real Wizard of Oz's that are hanging out behind in their little fortresses can continue to use Trump to destroy this country and to milk it for any bit of dime that it has in here. Before, mind you, turning us all into slaves that are indebted to a system that was just created. We didn't even get opportunity in it. They created the system and automatically threw us into slavery. Now, and also, I want you guys to think about this too. How much is like a Bitcoin or an ETH coin? How many dollars is that? Something in the thousands, right? Or maybe not. Maybe it's like a couple hundred. Imagine if we transitioned to that, making that the fundamental currency. Your actual dollars, like the $2,000 that you spend per month on your one-bedroom apartment.
May I have your attention, please? Library will be closing in 15 minutes. Please check out your items now. 10, library is closing in 15 minutes.
It's literally going to, it's going to make the dollar so meaningless, and the people who have been so hell-bent on barely scraping dollars together, it's going to make it so worthless that there's going to have to be universal basic income. And the only time a government that has destroyed its social welfare programs, ones that weren't even good in the first place, wants to provide a universal basic income is when it wants you attached to the system forever. Because even in a traditional job, you have a potential to increase your pay over time. Universal basic income, you're on it until you're not on it. So that could very well mean, hey, you get this little amount of money that doesn't mean shit until we kick you off of it. And then you have to have some kind of plan on the other end of this. And that's going to be so overwhelming and fearful for people, they'll just take on whatever other opportunity comes next to that. Fighting in the military, leaving the country, I don't know what the options are going to be. I've only done so much thinking up to this point. But crypto will be the scam of the century. I personally believe will be the scam of the century. And I don't know. If you guys aren't even going to hold Donald Trump accountable, bro, for this meme coin dinner, then go ahead and just wrap it up, bro. Like, this is not even close to the worst thing that's going to happen as a consequence to this shit. But because I'm running out of time here, you guys heard that 15-minute bell. I do believe, personally, selfishly, I do believe that artificial intelligence is going to replace us. Just like I was saying in the weekly rundown, we are training artificial intelligence to replace us. Personally, I'll be honest with you, I still work at an Amazon warehouse. We have, over the past 6 months, we have integrated at least 3 or 4 AI level technologies that have drastically transformed the amount of people we need and how we even need people. So if me, as an Amazon worker, is looking at you, a high-skilled person who can't find a job, and I'm telling you that warehouse people are losing their jobs to robots, and you can't even get a high-skilled job, like a warehouse or a minimum wage is supposed to be the backup for you, and people in my position are losing jobs. What does that mean for you? Especially as AI is only going to get smarter. It's not like a human being where it gets so smart and then it starts getting lost in ignorance. I mean, of course it could, but AI is only, especially as it's cultivated and cared for, it's only going to get smarter. Just the more you know. The more you know. There's no other purpose. And the reason why I say that it's going to be used as a replacement is because look at these people right here. The people who are doing the dehumanizing. The pastors who want more religious slaves. The business people who want more capitalist slaves. The family men who want women to be slaves so they can have families and be baby incubators and just stay at home infinite servants. The highest use case, or the highest probable use case for artificial intelligence is servitude and slavery. For the master and the wealthy person, they call it slavery. For the poor person, they call it convenience. So we are replacing humanity and the issues that we have with humanity with technology instead of trying to address the issues that were created by the last generation of technology that were used to destroy our ability to connect with each other in our humanity. So we will use AI to replace us and these digital technologies to further almost like isolate us in those matrix pods for the sake of existing in a shared space, but feeling so afraid and insecure of another part, that the world becomes hyper claustrophobic. Even though this world has enough resource to care for and support all of us, in a world where we are enslaved to these personal echo chambers and we only know how to serve our own needs, we only know how to force AI to serve us, we won't know how to create or even allow for the space of other people's humanity, which obviously overextends beyond their self and their immediate space into the world that they can impact. We are going to feel like this world is too claustrophobic and that we need those individual, hyper-individual spaces. Again, I love saying "and again." That's my favorite transition. I apologize. Because I only got like 5 more minutes in here, I'm going to wrap this up real quick with who the new class of people are. Because mind you, I got a TikTok deleted saying the second after I posted it, it got deleted because it was like fear mongering or some like bullshit. I'll put the screenshot up here. And I was like, the fuck? Like, I'm telling the truth though. This is going to be your new middle class of America. So for those of you who thought that America cared about you because of the civil rights movement, I hope you know, wrong. Foreign oligarchs, Elon Musk is the first of them, but if you want to know an even stronger, more capable foreign oligarch that has intentions of seeing America accelerate to its demise so he can use this as an opportunity to create his sci-fi fantasy, Peter Thiel. That is one of your foreign oligarchs. And I guarantee he lives here. He went to Stanford. Foreign oligarch. That is a South African kid, just like Elon Musk, who has the same intentions of coming to a vulnerable country, destroying it, using it to fund their billionaire projects. But it's not just them. They're the ones who are doing it before. We have to wait and see how many more people come. And again, Trump coin and the Saudis, we're going to have to see what role the Saudi billionaires, trillionaires at this point, play in on reinvesting in Trump's America. Crypto scammers. So now it's not just going to be the course selling scammers of the red pill and like the internet age. This is people who can sell crypto scams, people who can basically sell air to another human being. Those people who can get rich off of that, and they will do two things at once. They will validate cryptocurrency by helping alleviate or helping escalate this process of sending people into digital debt slavery. But even worse than that, they're going to be able to have such clean, untraceable money that they'll be able to be perceived as hyper wealthy people or accomplished people, even if they only got on by scamming. So you're about to see a bunch of 15, 16, 17-year-olds with millions of dollars in cars and whatnot, simply because they were able to crack the scam play without being caught in these new digital blockchains, rather than seeing more people in society go through the traditional education system, go through the traditional work system, and then become somebody on the other end of whatever they decide to like pursue. So you're going to see so much get rich quick over the next coming years. It's going to be absolutely disgusting. I have to make sure I mention that. And the final part, we don't even have too much time here. I apologize. The final part, I'll say this as I'm cleaning up my stuff because these people aren't going to give me too much time. Final is going to be the immigrants that we end up bringing in. After saying that immigration was one of our biggest issues in the United States, we're going to bring in immigrants from Asia, from India, and from Europe. But we're going to try to force a bunch of immigrants from Europe to try to rebuild this image of make America great again. But as long as like they look white, it'll be cool. And I think white Americans won't understand that, yeah, like, hell yeah, make America great again. The propaganda is going to look how they want it to look, in the sense that it's like white people. But what these people refuse to accept is that those are white people that don't speak your language. Those are white people, but European white people, that are stealing your jobs, that are taking your opportunities, that are replacing you in the workplace, and that are doing all the things that you thought the Mexicans were doing. And because you decided to care so little, so horribly little about your peers who were going through the dehumanizing process of seeking citizenship and immigration in this country, because you hated them so damn much, you're about to get replaced by people that look like you but are nothing like you. And honestly, I don't know if that will lead to a new wave of racism, because white people will realize, damn, like, we can't just be racist anymore, like to people of color. We have to be racist to other white people who are taking our jobs, because that's a reality now. I genuinely don't believe that'll happen. But one thing I'm sure of. Okay. One thing I'm sure of right here. If you aren't tapped in, connecting with your community, taking care of your self-concept, figuring out what you need to do even if that what you need to do is get up out of this country and never come back, if you aren't addressing those issues in your life right now, addressing those aspects of your life right now, there is nobody coming to save you. Blonde Jesus especially. That nigga does not pick up the phone on black people households. So you got to remember.
May I have your attention, please? Library will be closing in 5 minutes. Please check out your items now. You need to print? You do so now. All laptops should be shut down, and all cellular must be vacated at this time. Hence, library closing in 5 minutes.
I guess that's the end of the episode. I will catch you guys later. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Let me know what you think AI is going to transform the world into. And get ready next week. Conscious Creatives is coming out before I get deuced out this motherfucker. But you know how we like to end the video? Rock on.
Do you suffer from a lack of a father figure? Do you have clinical depression? Have you ever accidentally broken your mom's favorite coffee cup, and when she found out you did it, she tied you to a bed and spanked you with a metal spatula? If you said yes to any of these things, I don't care. And to keep it a bean, no one cares.